Hello everyone, Mason here. How you doing? Welcome to another evening with Mason in the Dark. That's me. It's on the channel name, so you know that already. It was my birthday last Thursday, and I thought what better way to celebrate than with my friends in a live show where we answer some random questions from a tag and also submitted by you guys. I'll be honest, these intros are always slightly weird. I'm never sure quite what to do because I'm used to having a bit of music in the background, a bit of vibe going on, but you know. So I think we'll kick straight off with the first question, which is what is your favorite candle scent? This is a my talkback shouting in my ear then. It's a weirdly specific question, which I've actually ended up answering multiple times on the channel, which is strange. I am not a fan of summer scents. This time of year, my favourite time of year, because as soon as you start getting round to autumn and winter, you get those nice spicy scents. You get the sugar plum and the cinnamon and the gingerbread. And I have to say that gingerbread is probably my favourite. I just love it. You turn it on, you get it lit, the entire flat smells like gingerbread, and you cannot complain about that. I have no idea why I'm not a fan of the summer scents, to be honest. During the summer, I don't really like candles that much. It's more of a winter vibe thing. Apparently, I'm more into vibes than I would care to admit. With that being said, let's move on to the next question, which is what celebrity would you like to be your sibling? Um, this is where I reveal myself as being an absolute philistine and stuck in the past, not aware of who celebrities are at all these days. And genuinely don't know many celebrities these days because uh I sort of missed out on the whole Marvel thing and never watched any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. I don't know why. It just sort of passed me by as a franchise. I think it was because to start with, I wasn't that interested with it, and then by the time it started seeming like it had some interesting potential, they were already heading towards Endgame, and it was like, right, so now there's like 9 million films that I'd need to catch up on, and it just seems like a lot of legwork. Friends of mine have said, "You can do it, bro. You can catch up," and I'm like, "Yeah, I probably could catch up, but that would require me sitting down and watching all of the Marvel films, which would take me like what 2 months combined or something like that. And that's if I allow time to eat, sleep, and bathe. But it's just not something. It's not a commitment that I'm willing to make. Not when I could sit down and watch like the Lord of the Rings extended editions at least twice in that time. So, are we ready to move on to another question then? I didn't. You know what? I've just given the cue to move on to the next question. Just completely didn't answer that one. Just said I don't know any celebrities. Who would I want to be my sibling? I've already got a brother, so I'm sort of happy with him. Sort of. Hello, Pax. Welcome into the chat and thank you for the birthday wishes. Literally, the only reason why I announced that it was my birthday is because I'm a self-centered bastard and I wanted those those birthday wishes. So thank you very much for that. Pax, who would you have as your celebrity sibling? You seem like me. You're not going to be majorly clued up on all the celebrities. You know, from as much as I say about the Marvel films, I think from everything that I've seen, Tom Holland actually seems like a cool guy. Whenever I see him in interviews, he just seems like a nice, chill dude. So, okay, yeah, fine. Let's go with Tom Holland as my new brother. If we were going with a female, I have literally no idea. Let's just go with Let's just go with Emily Deschanel with Bones. She again, she seems like a lovely, lovely woman from everything that I've seen. And that next it's hard to think of one. Yeah. It's just one of those questions, isn't it? Who would you like your celebrity sibling to be? Well, I don't know. I already have a sibling and I'm quite happy with them, so I don't want to replace them. Yeah, I agree with you. The next question was, how old do you think you'll be when you get married? Which the answer is dead. I don't think I'm going to get married. Dead. I will die before I get married. I refuse to take part in such traditions. Um, don't know why I answered dead. Seriously though, I don't think I'm going to get married. I don't think me or Lee is that bothered about it. Maybe if we were ever to do it, it would be a civil partnership. I don't think that we would get married. But yeah, so no, I don't think that I will be any age when I get married because I don't think I'm going to do it. Next question. Do you know somebody who is a hoarder? And we've got a message from Pax. Yes, yes, Pax. If I ever get merch, the answer is dead on a t-shirt. Is an amazing idea. Can we get someone on that? Merch department that doesn't exist. I'm just shouting into an empty room. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. I love that. The answer is dead. So I just want to see that on a quiz show. Well, I think the answer is dead. Just you all have to agree right now that if you end up going on a quiz show, at least one of the answers you just have to say dead. And just to see the host's face. And the next question was I've forgotten now. Yes, you would wear the hell out of that, because if you didn't, I would disown you as a friend, Pax. If you don't wear my merch, you don't love me. And this is my birthday stream, so you have to show me some love. What was that? What was the next question then? Do you know somebody who is a hoarder? Yes, I do. Yes, I absolutely 100% do. Not going to name them though, because I'm not going to throw shade at people that I know, even if they will most likely never hear this stream. But yeah, I do know a hoarder. I don't really know how that starts, to be honest. I need to go and educate myself on hoarding because I just don't know how it gets started. But yes, I do, and I'm going to move quickly on so that I don't put my foot in it. What is the next question? Can I do the splits? Can I do the splits? Absolutely, I cannot. In all fairness, when I was a teenager, I used to be able to do the crab really well. Like, I used to go from standing position, just like matrix myself backwards into the crab position, and it was something that I pulled out fairly often as a little party trick. Like, look how cool I am, guys! I can do the crab. I absolutely can't do the splits, though. Jesus, I don't feel like I can get my legs that far apart at all. I often get made fun of by Lee, who can kick really high. We uh we had a competition between me, Lee, and our friend Dan a few years ago to see who could kick their height because we're big fans of Carl Pilkington, who has a whole bit about kicking his height and hurting his back in the process. And we all got drunk and decided, hey, let's try and kick our height. And guess what happened? Dan fell on his arse and hurt his back. It was brutal, but also incredibly hilarious. Sorry, Dan, but it just was, mate. It was so funny that the as he hit the floor was just amazing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm a terrible friend for thinking that, but it was so funny. But yes, as the producer points out, we were drunk, which makes it even funnier. But no, I can't do the splits, and I wish that I could. The whole crab situation, I remember I remember doing that once, and I was at a after school club. I can't remember what it was. I feel like it might have been the drama club, because like 3 years into school, for some reason they fired the drama teacher and shut down the drama department, and we just didn't have drama lessons anymore. That was a lot of time saying drama. But, yeah, we just didn't have it. So we got together as students and went, "We're gonna have an after-school drama club where we do absolutely no acting whatsoever." And instead, I did the crab, and I remember doing it, and my friend being impressed, and I ran up to my friend and tried to jump on his back and just split my trousers, split them right down the arse, and showed everyone my pants. Yeah, that's not a story that I probably should have shared on air because it's embarrassing, but who cares? I don't have a sense of embarrassment. I don't have a filter. Who needs a filter? Next question. How old was I when I learned to ride a bike? You know what? I really can't remember. See, this is the problem with questions that focus on the past. I have a memory like a torn up sponge. Anything before 2000, I just don't remember. I know that my stepdad taught me, and we went round the trail, which was just, just a couple of paths. And I remember him teaching me, and I did love riding my bike, despite the fact that I definitely couldn't see well enough to be zooming round on a bike. I went round my estate like, look at me, I'm in top gear, just pedaling around like a mad bastard. There's lampposts and all sorts of obstacles in the way, but who cares because it's fun. But yeah, I used to absolutely love riding my bike, but I have no idea how old I would be. Let's just arbitrarily say I was 8 years old. I went 1 year older than Lee suggested. In all fairness, if Simon, my stepdad, taught me, I must have been older than 7 because we didn't move to my current hometown until I was 7 years old. So 8 is probably a decent guess, actually. Next question. How many oceans have I swam in? Okay, let's work this out. How many oceans have I swam in? You know what? I really don't know because I've been to Blackpool, I've been to Devon, and I assume with them being on on opposite ends of the country, I would assume that they would be different oceans, but I don't know which oceans they are. And I also went to Gran Canaria for my 18th birthday and went in the ocean there. So 3 separate oceans, but I can't tell you which ones they are. I genuinely have no idea which oceans they would have been. I assume one would be the North Sea and one would be, I don't know, the Atlantic. just just absolutely showing how stupid I am when it comes to geography. I don't know the names of the oceans that are like 2 hours away from me at the most. Well done, Mason. Well done. See, this is what you subscribe to this channel for. It's just me rambling about the fact that I don't know what oceans are called. So I'm going to move on from that. Next question. What would I name my kids? Well, for a start, I don't have children and I don't see myself having them anytime soon. What would I call them? Oh, what ridiculous thing can I come up with to say that I would call my imaginary children? I don't know. I would call one of them John Cena, and I would call the other one. What would I call the other one? I'm drawing an absolute blank now. I would call the other one Frodo. There we go. I've got a set of twin brothers. One is John Cena, one is Frodo. John Cena. That's right, Pax. Just no, see, Pax. Now you have to just picture me outside my door, banging a pan like an old school parent, like John Cena. I have to call him by his full name. I can't just call him John. He like, John Cena, Frodo, tea's ready. I don't know why I have to use that voice because I'm calling them in for tea. So naturally, I have to use that sort of voice. Just ringing out through the neighborhood. John Cena, Frodo. I love that idea. It's so stupid. It's absolutely brilliant. I was going somewhere with that, and then I derailed myself. If I had a daughter, what would I name a daughter? What's some equally ridiculous Electra, I would probably go with. Hope no one I'm glad that I'm blinding you with tears, Pax. That's absolutely amazing. I'm putting you in my shoes. It's okay. Learn to touch type. In a few years, you'll be an expert like me. It'll probably take you about 6 years to start using emojis properly, though, because that's that's how long it's taken me. Literally, I'm not even exaggerating. I literally learned the other day. All this time, I've been just using like the same 5 emojis because they're the ones I can find. And I realized that there was a search function. So I can search the emoji that I want to use. And now my emoji game has been stepped up 1000 fold. Oh, the joys of being a blind person. Okay, so we got one female child, which was Electra. So it's John Cena, Frodo, Electra, and let's I don't know, let's be nerdy and go with Trillion from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There we go. What a family photo that is. John Cena, Frodo, Electra, and Trillion. Absolutely brilliant. Next question. What is the worst grade you've ever gotten on a test? Ooh, interesting question. See, that's relative, isn't it? Because if you're one of these smarty pants brainiacs, you could be like, I got a B on a test once, and that was the worst grade that I've ever gotten. Which I guess if it actually is the worst grade you ever got, then that is accurate. I would say, well, in high school, the end of high school tests, which are GCSEs over here, I think, do you know if they're still GCSEs, Lee? Have they changed them? I don't know. Um, but yeah, when I was in school, back in my day, when I were in school, they were called the GCSEs, and the worst one that I did was maths because I'm a man of words, not of numbers, my friends, and I got a D, which is technically a fail. I didn't actually technically pass maths, which is fine because I don't care that much. Apparently, I was 1 mark off a C, but I talked to a suspicious amount of people that say that they were also 1 mark off a C. So I have a feeling that's just something that teachers tell you to make you feel a bit better about failing. Funny thing about that, when I went to sixth form, so over here you've got high school, sixth form, then university. So when I went to sixth form, they were like, "Well, to come here, we need you to redo your maths GCSE." And I was like, "All right, fine, I'll do it." That lasted about, I'd say, probably about a month before I made a lame excuse about how the squiggly little numbers hurt my eyes and trying to see them strained my eyes. So could I please not do maths because it was affecting the rest of my other studies? It worked. It 100% worked because of course it did. How are they going to argue with that? No, I don't care if it makes your eyes hurt. You will do maths, even though it's not essential for the courses you're doing. I will make you do maths. So yeah, they let me drop it, and I didn't have to do it after that. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I lied. I'm not sorry that I lied at all. There's very few silver linings to having a disability, and occasionally using it to your advantage is one of the few silver linings. So I'm not sorry whatsoever. Next question. Favorite TV show as a kid? That's a good question. Well, I was a massive nerd as a younger kid and a teenager, so I would say that my favorite show at that time was Doctor Who. I really did love Doctor Who. When it came back in 2005, Christopher Eccleston wandering around fighting aliens in a leather jacket was just the coolest thing ever. And then obviously, I tried to emulate all of them. So, Christopher Eccleston made me wear leather jackets. David Tennant had me wearing long coats and blazers. I did buy a tweed jacket when Matt Smith was the Doctor. We'll move quickly on from that. But yeah, I absolutely love Doctor Who. That was my first fandom. The same way that I'm into BookTube now, I used to go on what was it called now? It's called Gallifrey Base, I think was the name of the forum. And I spent many an hour on there speculating on what would happen and coming up with theories and getting all my news and just doing all the good BookTube type things that we do, but for Doctor Who instead. I actually around that time, I launched a blog that was called Gallifrey Reviews, which is just so inventive, Mason. Well done. The Doctor's from Gallifrey and I'm doing reviews, so I'll call it Gallifrey Reviews. Oh, clever of me. Jesus, I could slap my teenage self. But yeah, I ran that blog for about how many reviews? I had a look on it recently. How many reviews was that? I think there was about 5 episodes worth of reviews, and then it fell off because I just lost motivation with it. These days, I'm a lot better about being like, okay, that didn't get that many views. Next thing will probably do better. Back then, because it's a blog, and I just didn't know how to get traffic there. It was like one person read your review, and you read it, so you're that one person. And it just completely killed my enthusiasm and my confidence, and I just stopped doing it. And yeah, so at least I've gotten over that now because I've been doing this for over a year now, almost 2 years. Holy shit, it's almost 2 years. That's gone really fast. Other than that, what were favorite TV shows as a kid? I really liked Life on Mars, which, if you don't know, is a time traveling cop show, a time traveling detective show with John Sim and Philip Glenister, where John Sim's character gets hit by a car and sent back to the 1970s, and we don't know whether he's in a coma or he's travelled in time, and he has to figure it all out. And there's loads of weird, trippy things of him hearing things in the present to make us think that he's in a coma, and different sort of things that imply that he's gone back in time. And it was just a really good show. And luckily for me, John Sim then ended up in Doctor Who, so I ended up with two of my favorite things in one place. It's funny though, because I know that uh, I know that there was an American remake of Life on Mars, and God, I don't know what the rules are with spoiling things that are that old, but they changed the. Oh, 1 second, I'm just adjusting my headphones. I know that the American version completely changed the ending of Life on Mars, and the English version. Oh my god, the ending to that is so brilliant because the yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the ending, the way that we did it, was absolutely brilliant, and the Americans, the way they did it, was absolutely trash. Shade. In all fairness, though, when it comes to American remakes, a lot of them do suck, but, and this is the crucial point, have you ever heard of Being Human, which is a show that has werewolves and vampires and ghosts and stuff? The Americans remade that, and I actually really enjoyed the American remake. I think I probably enjoyed it more than the British version. So there you go. Yes, Life on Mars, the remake of that sucked, and I will throw shade at you Americans for doing that. But Being Human, you cracked that one. Next question. What did I dress up as for Halloween when I was 8 years old? Well, as I said, memory like a sponge, so I can't tell you exactly, 8 years old. But I can share a funny Halloween story, or not a funny one, just a relevant Halloween story, not a funny one. I dressed up as the Grim Reaper for like a Halloween disco thing at school. I think it was the Grim Reaper. I don't know, but it was this. It was this sort of robe costume that had a mesh over the face so that it looked like I didn't have a face. and my mum did, like, makeup for me so that my face was, like, white, and she did all these red lines, like veins and or blood, I don't know, I can't remember. But I actually ended up winning the costume party competition, and I won my first ever MP3 player, and I was so happy, man. It had the capability, the memory of having 800 songs, and at the time in the mid 2000s, I was like, "Oh my god, 800 songs, that's amazing." It's funny because these days that's absolutely nothing. These days you'd be like, I mean, on my Spotify and on my liked songs playlist in my Spotify, I think I've got about 2,000 odd songs, and that doesn't even take up any of your memory because it's just an app. How times change. But yeah, I absolutely loved that MP3 player. Other other Halloween costumes that I've worn, I mean, I did Death, I did the Devil, and those are the 2 that I can remember. The Devil one was fucking brilliant. It was it was just your proper stereotypical devil mask with the pitchfork, and it was, yeah, it was cheesy and brilliant, and I remember going to a friend's party with that actually, and, I remember there being fireworks there, and that was a nice night from what I can remember, which is not much. I remember that I dressed up as the devil and there was fireworks, and that's about it. I'm really distracted at the minute because I just clocked that I dropped the F bomb, which isn't bad because we're all adults here. But I know that my nanan might be listening to this, and my nanan doesn't know that. I swear you do. You totally know. But at the same time, you don't need to hear it, do you, nanan? So I'm terribly sorry about that. It genuinely, after I said it, just completely knocked me off for a minute. Okay, next question. Have I ever read Harry Potter? Yes. Yes, I have. I've told this story many times, so I'm not going to tell it again. But yes, I have read Harry Potter, and I you know what? I wish that I could erase my nostalgia of that and read it again now, because I would love to know what my adult brain would think of that series going into it completely blind with no nostalgia attached to it whatsoever. Because I don't know whether I would find it that good, and it's difficult to decide because I also know that my my love for the series has been tainted by recent events that we're not going to go into, but everyone knows anyway. But yeah, my love for the series has been tainted, and that's made me look back and be like, was it as good as I remember it being anyway? And I would love to know. I would love to know whether my adult brain would be like, yeah, this is mint, like my child brain was, because I don't think that I would. I mean, I know it's not a hot take, but Harry just isn't a good protagonist, is he? He's miserable. He's absolutely miserable. I mean, having said that though, he sort of has reason to be miserable, doesn't he? His parents are dead. He gets sent to live with these abusive dickhead people. Sorry again, Nanan. He gets sent to live with these abusive people, and then he goes to school and he makes a couple of friends, but he also makes enemies. And he has a teacher that completely just harasses him for a few years, but it's okay because that teacher fancied his mum and he was actually just being nice to him the entire time, so that's fine. Um, and then obviously the events that happen later on with Voldemort and Sirius and all that sort of thing. So he sort of has a reason to be miserable. Sorry, what was that? Stephen Fry does narrate it, and that does make it much, much better. Why it works, I don't know. Because Stephen Fry, his voice is Stephen Fry's voice. He can't do other voices. So when he's reading Hermione's lines, it's Hermione's lines, but in Stephen Fry's voice, and I don't know why that works, but it does. He does do a voice for her. Yes, Lee, you are right. He does do a voice for her, but it's still his voice. Like, you would never be like, "Oh, yeah." Like, when you listen to some audiobook narrators, like, I don't know, let's be a cool kid and let's say Stephen Pacey, who does the first Law series, because 'cause I've listened to one of those. When when I listen to that, he can do all sorts of voices, and you wouldn't necessarily think, "Oh, yeah, that's that guy." But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I completely lost where I was gonna go with that. But yeah, Harry Potter has reason to be miserable, but he still just comes across as like really immature and self-centered sometimes. And I even thought that back in the day. Like the whole in order of the Phoenix when he gets to what's the bloody place called where Sirius lives? I cannot remember. Got anyone in the chat that can tell me? I'll just ramble until then. Yeah, when he gets to Sirius's house and he finds out that everyone's been there, and then he finds out that they haven't written to him because Dumbledore's been like, "Don't write to Harry," and he like there's like this whole paragraph where he's just shouting at Ron and Hermione, and it's all in caps, and he's really mad, and it's just like, dude, it wasn't their fault. Don't take it out on them. And now I come to think a bit about it, I don't know whether he ever apologizes to him for that. So yeah, Harry Potter's a dick. Not a hot take. Next question. Have I ever read The Hunger Games? No, I haven't. Next. Grimwald Place. That's the one. Thank you very much. Who was that? That was you. But I thought it was going to be someone in chat, but no, it's just Lee being an actual producer and going and doing research. Check you out. That's mint. I actually feel like a radio presenter now with a producer. Like, by the way, it was Grimwald Place. No, I haven't read The Hunger Games. I have watched the first film. Did we ever watch the second film? I don't think we did. No, we have. We definitely watched the second one because in the second one there's the bit where she like dances in the dress. Is the dress on fire or is the yeah? There's something like that in there. No, I can't remember either. Yeah, I definitely watched the first Hunger Games and maybe watched the second one. It seems all right. I feel like I would probably at least 40% enjoy the book, but it's just one of those that I never got into at the time, and now, as much as I like being late to the party, it feels like I've missed that train. Maybe I'll get to it one day. Maybe I'll do like a maybe in the future I'll do like a booktube favorites type thing, and where I'll try to get clicks by reading everyone's old favorites because that will work. That will 100% work. So so maybe I'll try to do that. What's the next one then? Oh, Twilight. Have you read Twilight? No, I haven't. I've never read Twilight because I am too cool and badass to have ever read Twilight. Yeah, just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, I've 100% read Twilight. I read all of them, actually. I read the whole series because, as a teenager, my thought process was I can't take the piss out of this series and say that it's crap if I haven't read it. So I read the whole thing. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know. When you get down to the nitty gritty of it, I'm not a fan of Stephanie Meyer's writing. I mean, I did Prose Police with my friends Zach and Kate, where we went through most of the series and picked apart the openings to all of the series. And yeah, as an adult and as someone who now writes, looking at it, I'm like, oh god, there's so many things that you could have done differently slash better. But the story of the series, I don't think that the story is as bad as people try to make out. Is Bella a milk toast vanilla character? Yeah, she is. And is a lot of the dynamics that she has with Jacob and Edward, are they toxic? Yeah, they are. But yeah, at the same time, the story isn't that bad. There are some decent twists and turns, and she did a fairly decent job of world building. Pax says that you've read all of these. Oh, right, okay. The book. Sorry, what was that? Books are superior. Yeah, well, that's not a surprise, is it? Because you get more of it in the books. In any book, you get more time to actually explore, the internal workings of the character, and you get to see their motivation and their mental processes and stuff. So I'm definitely not surprised that the books are better, but it does make for a pretty cool cinematic idea. So I can see why they adapted it, especially when they did. because we've just hung up. I've just been hung up on, which is okay. I'll just have to try and stall until we've sorted that out. Uh, Sorry, I've completely been distracted by that. Um, Let me try and get myself back on track. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, where were we? I believe we were talking about the Hunger Games, and I don't know what I was going to say. I'm sorry that we're having we're having technical difficulties right now, so just bear with me. What was I saying about the Hunger Games? Can you remember, Lee? Can you get me back on track here because I've completely lost it? Yeah, we were talking about how the books were better. Yes, thank you. You actually did get me back on track there. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. We're back. Yeah, it makes sense to me why they adapted the books, especially around the time when they did, because it was. I don't know whether they did it before the Harry Potter franchise ended in terms of the films, but it was around that time, and so the that franchise was coming to a close and they needed something to fill it, and the Hunger Games was like a decent replacement. And hello, Chatty, you came in at just the wrong time there, didn't you, mate? Right as we were having technical difficulties. I bet you were like, "What's going on? Why is he not talking?" It was because so I have to be on the phone to Lee because she's my producer and she reads out the chat, and then for some reason the phone hung up on us and it just complete it just completely derailed me for a second, but I'm back now. So yes, welcome in, Chatty, and thank you for joining us. We were just talking about whether we've read Harry Potter, Hunger Games, and Twilight because we're running through the 50 questions tag, as well as answering some of your guys' questions when a few more of you are here. Hello, Winter Windy. I hope that's the right way of saying your name. I hope it's not butchering it, but it's a second-hand thing of someone else telling me, and I don't know whether I can hear her right. So, Winter Windy, welcome in. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you for joining us. Shall we go for another question? Yes, we should. Would you rather have an American or a British accent? Right, well, this is the time for me to do an American No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do an American accent. The only time you've heard me do an American accent is during the TalkTube adverts for the Xphone Smart Droid Model 5. There you go. There you go. That's the only American accent now I'm going to do, slash can do, to be fair. Um, I would rather have a British accent because I would rather have my voice, and my voice is British. So I just I'm not like a I don't have a lot of national pride or anything like that, but I do love a good British accent. I feel like we've just got a lot of variety, and I feel like it's the same with America, but I just prefer British accents. So shoot me. Next. Oh, yes, children always need bedtime stories. What was that last bit? Sorry. Oh, which British accent? That's really difficult, Chatty. Why did you have to ask me really difficult questions? I love obviously I've got northern family, so I love a good northern accent. And I don't know, to be honest, I quite like my accent. Uh, Over the years, I've just grown to like the Midlands accent. I like Manchester and Birmingham. I think I would say that my accent is my favourite. Does that make me look big-headed? Yes, it does, but I don't care. Other than that, I like a good, I like this sort of accent. I don't know where it's from. It's probably from nowhere, because it's not actually a genuine accent, is it? It's just a caricature of one. But yeah, is it West Country? West Country, Bristol, Somerset, that sort of area. I like that sort of accent anyway. It sounds good. And then Scottish. I have a weakness for Scottish accents, as most people seem to do. There you go. I've just given you my top 5 favorite accents, and none of them were Southern. So I'm sorry, Chatty, but I'm from the Midlands, which is further north than you, which means I'm better than you. Because that's the mentality that we have up north, innit? We're better because we're further north. We're closer to the north, and we're better. Sorry, Nanan. I know I'm sort of making fun of you there, but you know, I'm taking shots at everyone now. Yes, coming home to your roots. You're not southern. You just live there. I love how you're just shirking that away. You're like, no, that's the inner northerner in you. No, I'm not southern. I just live here. Okay, fair enough though. Fair enough. Ah, Lincoln. I actually went to Lincoln for university briefly. Long story short, when I went to university, my eyes were a lot worse than I thought they were because I was coping really well in my hometown. So I just underestimated how bad they were. And when I got to Lincoln, I wasn't really happy with the living situation, and I was struggling, and I just ended up moving back to Stoke within a few months. But yes, for a brief time, I lived in Lincoln. So there you go. We've got another connection there, Chatty. Next question. Did my mother go to university? No, she didn't. But let's give my mum some props, right? Because recently she's done an MVQ, and she did one that was equivalent to a university course, and she did it really well. I think she's being put forward for a distinction, actually. So let's all just give my mum some props and a big round of applause because she deserves it. I love you, mummy. Next question. Bad Lincoln experience, yes. It was a terrible experience, to be honest, Chatty. The people that they put me with in the dorms were just we didn't get along very well, and it wasn't a very pleasant experience. And then because I was struggling with my eyesight anyway, and I was sort of homesick, and at the time me and Lee had not long got together, so I was missing her. So it was just this big amalgamated ball of crap, and I just couldn't hack it, and I came home, and I'm ever so glad that I did because I didn't waste my time on the course, and that's the end of that. Ah, yes. Sorry about that. Are my grandparents still married? Yes, they are. They are still married and probably listening to this now, whether it's live or on demand. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. And yes, they are still happily married, and isn't that lovely? Because they've been together for a long, long time. I was gonna try and have a guess. It's been over 50 years. I'm not exactly sure how long it's been, and I am terrible for that, but it's just that memory thing, man. I did know, and then I forgot, and it's just terrible. I hate that about myself. Why do I have to have such bad memory? Next one. Do I know who Kermit the Frog is? I wish I didn't, but I do. Um, I've never been a Muppets guy. I'm sorry. I know that you're all gonna just like jump on me and savage me now, but I've never got the Muppets. Whenever I've seen it, it's just never made me laugh. Is it supposed to make you laugh? Is the Muppet supposed to be funny? I assume it's supposed to be funny with it being puppets, but then again, they're all, like, horrific puppets, which mm, no, chatty, seriously, I've never watched Muppets Christmas Carol. I've not watched it even once because it's just never any time that I've ever seen it, it's always been the Muppets appearing on something else, like I definitely think they've appeared on wrestling at some point, and, yeah, I've seen them appear on other things, and Miss Piggy in particular was always just like, "Oh my god, she's so annoying, and I just don't wanna watch this," and it's just never appealed to me. I'm so sorry. I know that it's a British institution. I know that it's a cultural icon, and I'm a Philistine, and I'm sorry. The first amusement park I ever visited, again, terrible memory, I don't know exactly, but the most frequent theme park that I visited is Alton Towers. And if you know where Alton Towers is, then you know relatively sort of the area where I live because if it's the most frequented one, it must be fairly close. Anyway, yes, Alton Towers is my most frequented theme park. When I went there, the first time I ever went there, I went with my dad and I was too short to get on anything. I went and queued up for Oblivion and was just too short. And then I went back the next year and managed to actually be tall enough. And I've been to Walton Towers many, many times since with my dad, with my friends. It got to a point actually during my teenage years where I went at least twice a year, which was too much because there's only like, I don't know, what would you say, 20, 10, 20 rides? Yeah, 10 big roller coasters and a load of smaller rides. Mm, Chatty says something. Okay, Chatty. Yeah, 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 exactly. Suspicious timing. It's not that you have to go and deal with all of your family, your family business, your family business. Uh, you got to go and read bedtime stories and stuff. No, no, I've seen through your facade and you're storming off in a huff because I haven't watched Muppets Christmas Carol. I'm sorry, Chatty. I'm so sorry. I hope we can still be friends. But yeah, twice a year was way, way too many times to go to Alton Towers because it got to the point where I'd gone on all the roller coasters so much that I could basically I was gonna say I could memorize them with my eyes closed, but that's a pretty pointless metaphor, isn't it? I just knew them like the back of my hand, and it was like, okay, it's nothing special anymore. But I haven't been in a few years, so hopefully next time I go, it'll have been enough time to refresh myself and it'll all be exciting again. In all fairness, I've only rode the Smiler like maybe 3 times or something like that. So I'm quite excited to try the Smiler again at the very least. But they've recently closed down Nemesis for a bit, and Nemesis is the best ride at Alton Towers. Fight me. If you don't agree, I don't care. Just leave. Because Nemesis is the best. Next question. What language would I like to be fluent in? Hmm. I mean, I just okay. In terms of real languages, because the obvious answer is that I would like to be fluent in some sort of Tolkien language, like Elvish, or I don't know whether I assume Dwarvish. I assume the dwarves have their own language. Yeah, they do. Um, so yeah, I would like to be fluent in Dwarvish, and in terms of real languages, probably Spanish, and if not, maybe Icelandic, because I would be able to understand what Sigur Rós was singing about. Next. Have I ever taken karate classes? You bloody better have taken karate classes. As a teenager, I quite liked the idea of doing martial arts, so I did karate for a little bit, but I didn't enjoy it. I don't know why. It just never stuck, and I didn't enjoy it. I did kickboxing for a bit, and then had to stop because when I went for my what's the first belt? I assume it's the white belt. I think I went for my white belt, and I was in, like, the sparring match or whatever you would call it, and the guy that I was up against, punched me in the face, and ended up scratching my eye with his glove. And my doctor was like, "No more kickboxing for you." So I stopped doing that. And I stopped doing kickboxing and took up MMA instead because that's so much better. In all fairness, though, when I was doing MMA, it was way more focused on the grappling and submission side of things. So yeah, I've taken karate classes. I am by no means adept at it. I wish that I was. I wish that I was good at a martial arts because it's so cool. But yeah, if I was gonna be adept at a martial art, it would probably be jujitsu because I used to really, really enjoy the grappling side of MMA when I was doing that. Next one. Do I spell grey with an A or an E? I spell it with an E because that's how it's spelled. Because if you spell it with an A, that's a name. Is that's so confusing? Is that genuinely one of those American British divides? Is for all I know, it's like a British rest of the world divide. But yeah, I've been raised to spell it as grey with an E. I'm genuinely flabbergasted that anyone spells it with an A. Does anyone in the chat do that? I'm interested. Please tell me. Next one for now, until somebody tells me whether they spell grey with an A. Is your father bald? No, he's still got a full head of hair, I think. Uh, I haven't actually physically seen my father in quite a while, and I don't necessarily touch his head when we meet. So I assume that he still has a full head of hair, and I don't even think he's that grey. Or at least he wasn't when I could still see him. But I'm not gonna ask Lee whether he is or not because Lee says he's not. He's not that grey, which is a little bit annoying, to be honest, considering that I'm already starting to go grey. I mean, it's not loads. By no means is it loads, but it has started, and it started in my early 20s. So I think by the time I hit 35, I'll probably have a fairly decent amount of grey. Hopefully, I get it in my beard because then I'll have a distinguished salt and pepper beard, and that will look absolutely amazing. But I'm not dyeing my hair, so when that goes grey, I'm just gonna have grey hair because I'm not going through the effort of dyeing it all the time. I'm just gonna look like a wizard, and it'll be mint. Okay, so the A and E difference is based on your location, according to Pax. And she says that she spells it with an E, as does Winter. So yes, the majority of the people here present spell it with an E, which is the correct way. It's the correct way, people. Don't spell it with an A. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. They teach you. So yeah. So if they teach you the E spelling when they teach you English as a second language, then that's the correct way. I'm sorry, it just is. It's correct. Next one. Do I know triplets? No, I don't even know twins. I don't. No, I don't think I've ever known a set of twins. Actually, that's really interesting. I've never thought about that before, but I've never met a set of twins in my life. That's kind of interesting and maybe a little bit sad too, because it would have been really interesting. But no, I don't know any triplets. Next one. Titanic or Notebook? I've never seen the Notebook. I've probably only seen Titanic a handful of times when I was younger, but let's just go with Titanic um because they have the sexy hand on the window scene. Let's just go with that. That sounds good. Does the Notebook have any sexy scenes? It probably does. Pax hasn't seen the Notebook. Why am I not surprised, Pax? Hardcore horror fan. Of course, you'd never gone and seen the Notebook, and you wouldn't admit it, even if you had. Yeah, you would. You'd admit it. You're cool enough to tell me if you had. I really want to know if the Notebook has any sexy scenes in it now, though. We're gonna have to watch the Notebook now, Lee. I don't know fully what it's about either. To be honest, I just know that one of those things. It's like a meme that everyone cries over it, and we like a good romantic story, so we'd probably enjoy it. In all fairness, but yeah, I'll pick Titanic out of the two. Next one. Have I ever had Indian food? Well, that depends on how you look at it. I have eaten at Indian restaurants, but for the most part, when I have a curry, I have a chicken tikka masala, which, if I'm not mistaken, was created for English people and is not a traditional Indian dish. So, not really. I mean, yeah, I've tried various small pieces of Indian food, but I've never had like a full, proper, traditional Indian meal. Next one. What's the name of my favorite restaurant? Oh, that's difficult because it's not. We're not like really, going out to restaurant eating type of people. I mean, the poshest place that we go to is like the Cherry Tree, which is just a pub chain restaurant. Uh, what's the name of my favorite restaurant? Limbs, probably. Limbs is a Chinese takeaway around here, and I really like it there. Mm, other than that, I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know because I can't think of any other restaurants other than, like fast food chain places. So yeah, let's just go with Limbs, the Chinese takeaway. I always get far too much from that place. Always get far too much. I'm like, yeah, my eyes are bigger than my belly. I'll get this and this and this. And when it comes, I always go, oh, I've I've gotten way too much. And you know what? I've got no self-control. So even though it's way too much as much as I possibly can until I can't breathe every single time. Next. Have I ever been to Nando's? Once, and it was crap. Uh, yeah, that was succinctly put, wasn't it? Once, and it was crap, and that's genuinely the way it was. I went with Lee and Dan, and it just wasn't impressive at all. I think it was free for some reason. I can't remember why now. Can you remember why? I think it was because of some sort of bad experience that Dan's family had, and they had a free opportunity to go, and Dan was like, "You want to go to Nando's?" So we said yes, and it was pretty poor. But I mean, I'm sure that it's good elsewhere. Just our chain wasn't that great. Pax says something. Okay, so Nando's is um it's a peri peri chicken chain restaurant. But yeah, but if she doesn't know what peri peri chicken is, that's not going to be a helpful explanation. Do you know what peri peri chicken is, Bax? Because if you don't, then explaining that it's a peri peri chicken place is absolutely pointless. But yeah, it's a basic chain restaurant where you go and have. Okay, so it's like a peri peri is a blend of herbs and spices. I don't know what country it's from. I'm sure Lee will probably go and look that up in a minute. But yeah, it's a basic chain restaurant where you go in and you have chicken that has a sauce on it that's a blend of herbs and spices, and you can get varying degrees of spiciness. It goes from like lemon and herb all the way up to really, really spicy. And apparently it's from Mozambique. So there we go. Thank you very much, producer Lee. Yes, piri piri chicken is a blend of herbs and spices fr- from the cultural Mozambique. And there's, yeah, the mild one is like a lemon and lime type blend sauce. It's not, as far as I know, it's not fried, it's not breaded, it's just chicken. Um, I guess sort of like how they do like the buffalo wings in America, but with like spices. And I have been to peri peri places that are really nice, but Nando's just isn't one of them. Do I belong to any warehouse? Fully booked. Melissa, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. I am really nervous to answer your question because it's going to absolutely cause so much controversy, and I bet you'll giggling manically to yourself over that. But thank you for the birthday wishes and thank you for stopping in. Do I belong to any warehouse stores? No, I don't. And I don't even know if there's any round my area. So it for a while I didn't even know what a warehouse store was. I didn't know. So there was one by us a few years ago that was called JTF, and for a while I didn't even know how it worked. I didn't know what the concept of a warehouse store was. But no, I don't belong to any. So there we go. Next one. What would my parents have named me if I was the opposite gender? I don't know. I asked my mum this when I put these questions together. I sent my mum a text and she was just like, I don't know. So I don't know what she would have called me. I think I can't think of a name that would suit me if I was yeah yeah I can't think of one. If you guys have got a name that you think would suit me as a woman, please let me know in the chat or in the comments section if you're listening to this on demand, because I genuinely don't know. I can't think of a name. I can't remember either, to be honest. Sorry, I had Lee in my ear then, and I got distracted. I can't think of a name that would suit me other than my own name. I've tried mostly because my second name is Adi, and nothing works with Adi other than my dad's like I don't know. For some reason, when I try to put other names to my second name, they just don't seem to work for whatever reason. Unlike Volleyboot says something. Lydia. Lydia 80. Yeah, that's not too bad. And you were going to be Jeremy. Jeremy from Fully Booked. Yeah. Jeremy's not a bad name. I quite like Jeremy. I've never met anyone called Jeremy who wasn't a nice guy. Michelle. Yeah, Michelle wouldn't have been too bad either. But that seems like a fairly obvious switch up though, doesn't it? Mason to Michelle. Pax says something. Brandon. Yeah, that would. You know what, Pax? For some reason, it's funny because I don't actually know what your real name is, Pax, and you don't have to say it. But I assume it's not Pax. But yeah, for some reason, the image that I have of you, like a Brandon, would actually probably work. And Angelica AD, double A. Yeah, that's not too bad actually. So do I prefer Angelica or Lydia? Probably. Yeah, I do know a Lydia. So I can't steal her name. I don't know any Angelicas, so I'll just say that I prefer Angelica. Hello. Hello, everyone. Angelica here. How are you doing? Would that would be awkward. Yeah, I don't. Now that I've done it like that, I don't like it. I like my own name. Okay. Hello, everyone. Lydia here. How are you doing? No, that's definitely worse than Angelica. That's 100% worse than Angelica. It's because the Lydia here, like because Angelica here, Lydia here. Lydia here sounds like a sounds like a disease. Hello, everyone. Michelle here. How you doing? Me see, yeah, I don't mind that. Michelle, see, okay. So at first, Michelle wasn't even in the running. I wasn't too bothered about Michelle, but now that I've put it to my intro, I think Michelle is probably the best of the three. We'll go with Michelle, Angelica, Lydia. Those are the rankings of my alternate names. What's my nickname? I don't have a nickname. As a teenager, a lot of people called me Macy, which I don't think suited me at all. Hey, Macy, nice to see you. I don't know why I don't know why that started or who it started. It was when I started hanging around. There was a place. Sorry, I was just getting that together in my head. There was a place when I was a teenager where we used to hang out called Plaza because it was a skate plaza. So it was a creatively named place. But when I started hanging around at Plaza, that's when people started calling me Macy. And I just don't feel like it suited me at all. People occasionally call me Mace, which, mace is cool because a mace is a weapon, and that just makes me sound like a badass. Actually writing something with a mace in at the minute. But yeah, people do call me Mace, and that one actually does suit me. Just missing off the Y. But other than that, I don't have any nicknames. Next question. Who's my favourite person in the world? Also, hey Sam, thanks ever so much for stopping by. It's so nice to see you. Who's my favourite person in the world? Who can I say? Who can I say? Because you're all expecting me to say Lee, and there's no point in saying it. I will say Stephen Fry. Let's just go with Stephen Fry. Other than that, probably my mum. I should have just gone with that straight away, shouldn't I? Should it means less now because I put Stephen Fry first, but I should have just gone with mum. Mum, you're my favourite person in the world after Lee and Stephen Fry. I don't even know Stephen Fry personally. I'm just listening to him on QI and reading Harry Potter, but he comes in above me, mum. Oh, what an idiot! Just completely screwed up there. I'm getting coal for Christmas now because my mum's Santa apparently. Country or city? What would I prefer to live in? I would choose town. I don't know why that's not an option. People just missing out towns. I live in a town and I love it because it's the best of both worlds. You've got loads of green areas. It's not far away from the countryside. You're not in a massive city, but you're not in the middle of nowhere, and you're not going to get murdered by a animated scarecrow. so so yeah, I'd probably just pick town. But if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go with, oh, I don't know. Country's nicer. City seems safer, relatively speaking. I'd probably go with city. It seems more convenient. Let's just go with that. Can I whistle? Yes. Sorry, I did try to lean back for that, but I could have just said yes, I can. But I wanted to demonstrate that I wasn't a liar. And yes, I can whistle. Not well, but I can. Sorry if I deafened you. Do I sleep? do, do I sleep with a light on? No, no, I don't. In all fairness, even when I could see, I didn't like having a light on. I'm one of those need almost complete darkness type people. It was really funny when I could still see because uh, as my sight deteriorated, it became more and more sensitive to light. So in my bedroom in the flat, we had to have like layers of curtains to try and block out the any sort of light. And yeah, I just really didn't like having any sort of light. So no, I don't sleep with the light on. And you know what? Well, while we're talking about sleeping with the lights on, let me tell you a funny, stupid story. I bet you know where I'm going with this now, Lee, don't you? There's a band called Busted, and they're a boy band, and I loved them as a teenager. Well, as a kid, I guess. I was going to say as a teenager. I still love them now. I don't know why I'm talking about it as if I don't still sing their songs on a regular basis. But they have a song. The lyrics go, "Now she's gone. I'm sleeping with the lights on, and shocks swim through my veins. Now she's gone." And because I had a terrible, terrible habit of mishearing lyrics as a kid and just not ever correcting myself. Until I met Lee and she corrected me, I thought they said sharks swim through my veins, which makes no sense whatsoever. But this is coming from the guy who thought that Madonna said tango spice rather than time goes by. Tango spice so slowly. And there's numerous other examples of me mishearing lyrics because I was just like, okay, that makes sense. I'll just sing that. It sounds relatively similar to what they're saying. Next question: do I eat breakfast? Uh, no, I tend not to. To be fair, well, it depends. It depends on what you class as breakfast, doesn't it? Uh, I tend not to eat until midday, so I would say that I have dinner or lunch, depending on where you're from. But no, I don't eat breakfast. Um, I don't mind toast. I will occasionally go through a period of having toast every morning for a while, but cereal for me is a dessert thing. It's too sweet for breakfast, so I tend to have that fully booked. Says something. Tango spice does sound delicious. Yeah, the Sam being a mum coming in. Mason, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. What are you doing? You need to get your brain and your metabolism started. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sam. I know I should be more responsible, but I mean, I don't tend to get out of bed until, closer to midday. I say that, but I'm usually up and about by 9:30, so that would still be breakfast time. But I like warm food. I don't like cold food in the morning, and I don't like sweet food, so I don't have cereal. So I just tend to have. Yes, you are a total mum, and we love you because of that, Sam. We love you for that. But I'm still not gonna eat breakfast, I'm sorry. Next question. Do I take medicine daily? Not anymore. Not anymore. I used to I used to have I used to need to take eye drops on a multi-time a day basis. There was a time when I used to need to take eye drops on like an hourly basis because a variety of problems with my eyes. So I had to take Yeah, I used to have to take a lot of eye drops, and towards the end of my sight loss journey, I was getting to the point where I was even needing to take them throughout the night, waking up multiple times a night to take them. I also I so I don't have a spleen because of an accident that I had as a kid, and I had to take penicillin for quite a while. But within the last few years, I've been to the doctors and I tried to get a subscription. I tried to get a prescription for the penicillin, and they were just like, "No, you don't need to take that anymore." And I was like, "Really?" Because they told me that I was gonna need to take that for life. And the doctor was just like, "No, you don't need to take that anymore." And I was really happy about it because I used to hate it. Sorry, I just needed to mute that for a second because air was trying to force its way out of my lungs. Have I seen Finding Nemo? Yes, I have. Many times. I've never seen Finding Dory yet, but I have seen Finding Nemo. And you know what? It's probably every bit as good as people make it out to be. It's actually a genuinely good, heartwarming, amusing film. And it's actually quite good. So yeah, I have seen Finding Nemo. Yes, as Lee points out, it's a lovely, heartwarming, hilarious family film about a lost child and a father searching for him and almost being killed on numerous occasions. Yeah, it's just one of them very, very heartwarming. Yeah, well, that's just how kids' stories work. They've always got that dark undertone. That's how fairy tales have always been. It's how kids' movies are. Listen, Lee, Finding Nemo is heartwarming. Shut up. Next one. Where do I buy my jeans? I don't know, Lee. Where do you buy my jeans from? I Yeah, yeah, we do have to go together. I was gonna make a joke about how Lee buys all my clothes for me, but we do have to go together because I have an awkward body, and it's really hard to find jeans. I'm 5'6". Yeah, I'm 5'6", so I find it really hard to find men's jeans that fit me around the waist and also in the legs. So we always have to go together. And I mean, I don't know whether it'll even mean anything to you guys because I assume quite a lot of you are American, and we shop at Primark, and Primark, Matalan, and Peacocks. Those are the three shops that I would go to buy jeans. But the last pair that I bought, it's funny because I don't really like wearing jeans that much. I don't tend to wear long trousers other than when I'm wearing pajama bottoms. For years, I just wore shorts almost constantly, even in the winter. It just like, there'd be like 3 days during winter where I'd be like, oh, it's a bit cold. I'll bust out the tracky bottoms. But other than that, I just wore shorts. And then recently, I had to go to my cousin's wedding. I didn't have to. I I I was invited to my cousin's wedding, and so I went and bought a pair of jeans because we were going to the reception, not the actual wedding. Um, I wasn't wearing jeans to an actual wedding ceremony. Uh, I guess I could have been. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Why am I getting so sidetracked by that? Uh, and I bought a pair of jeans, and it's changed my life, guys. I've been wearing jeans every time I leave the house recently, and it was quite nice, and we got them from Primark. Next one. No, I didn't get them from Primark. I got them from Matalan. See? Terrible sponge memory. What was the last compliment I got? Mm, yeah. Yeah, the last compliment I got was probably that I have a nice voice that makes Chatty feel like she's come home. So, yeah, the last compliment I got was on this stream, and it was that I have a nice voice. Other than that, it was probably that I'm a good writer from people that I've been showing my writing to. And after that, what? Sorry, or soft hair? Yes, and it's obvious that it was you that told me I have soft hair because no one else is coming and touching my hair. So yes, it was either Chatty telling me that my voice, makes her feel like she's come home, people telling me that I'm a good writer. My nan called me an author today, which was an awesome feeling. Or Lee telling me that I have soft hair because it is lovely and soft. I have Prince Charming hair. It's mint. It's really long. I haven't had it cut in like 5 years, and it's really long now to the point where it's most of the way down my back. My nan joked that I was probably almost sitting on it, and that's not far off the truth, but it's lovely and soft, and I absolutely love it. Next one. Do I remember my dreams in the morning? Sometimes. I mean, does anyone remember their dreams 100% of the time? Because I'd like to talk to you if you do. If you remember every dream you have, I would really love to pick your brain about what they're like. Yeah, I tend to remember, bits and bobs, just parts of the dreams, and I would say that I remember a little bit of one of my dreams every morning, but I hardly ever remember big chunks of them, and it's not every morning. So, next one. What's my favorite flavor of tea? Um, Tea flavored. I'm not a big fan of flavored teas. I don't like fruit teas, and I'm not. When I've tried matcha tea, I haven't enjoyed that much either. And 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of flavored teas. I like a good cup of just normal English tea. I think we use PG Tips, which is the same company that does Lipton's if you're American. So, uh, apparently, yeah, because we when we've looked that up, it seems to be difficult to actually confirm whether or not it is. But yeah, we use PG Tips, which is just bog standard normal English tea, and I like it with 3 sweeteners and a dash of milk. Next question. How many pairs of shoes do I own? I currently own 2 because I have the ones that I actually wear and the ones that I bought for the wedding, but I haven't worn the ones that I bought for the wedding since because they're not very comfortable. So functionally, I own 1 pair of shoes, and that will be the 1 pair of shoes that I own until my feet are, poking through them. What? Yeah, they're the ones that I'll wear until my toes are poking through because that's how I just don't like buying shoes. I don't care. I'm not one of the people that's like I'm not that into clothing. I like stuff that's comfortable and the less money I have to spend on it, the better. So when I had to buy a pair of shoes because I started walking earlier this year, it was like 50 quid for a pair of walking shoes. And I think most people would be like, yeah, that seems fairly reasonable. I was absolutely dying. I was like, no, this is too much. It's so painful. I'm still not over it, guys. I'm just not. 50 quid for a pair of shoes. Bloody hell. What religion would I raise my children to practice? Okay, so what I would want them. I mean, realistically, the answer would be I would just let them decide themselves because I'm not a particularly religious person myself, but I'm not opposed to religion either. I'm just a sort of agnostic person. So yeah, I would let them decide themselves. But for the sake of comedy, I would say that I would raise them all to be different religions. So John Cena would be a Jedi Knight. Frodo would be a Buddhist. Uh, Electra would be a Scientologist, and Trillian would be just a Christian. So they would all have completely different faith systems and religions, and it would be ace. That'd be an interesting Christmas dinner, wouldn't it? John Cena, what have you learned this year? What have you got to be thankful for? And the last question of the tag is, how old was I? Oh, see, I can't say this. What if people in the chat don't know? I'm sorry, guys. I'm about to say something very, very traumatic. How old was I when I learned that Santa wasn't real? I don't know. I really don't know. I can't really remember thinking Santa was real, so I feel like it must have been fairly early. As I established earlier, I don't really remember stuff before 2000, so I feel like I must have found out before age 7. But then, knowing my mum, I can't see her telling me that before age 7. You just sort of find out at some point, don't you? And it's just one of those things that you find. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely, genuinely don't know when I would have found out about Santa not being real. I'm really sorry that I'm making these aspersions because I know that I'm going to really upset some of you. Mason's Kids coming soon. Airs at 7 p.m. GMT. Yes, Mason's Kids would be an absolutely fantastic sitcom. Fully Booked says something. Oh, traumatic, yes. Yes, I can imagine that if you remember that moment, the moment that you found out that your parents had lied and betrayed you for years, I can see why that would be traumatic. What was more traumatic, the fact that Santa wasn't real or the fact that your parents had lied to you? I'm really interested. Going back to Mason's Kids, though, that would be a fantastic sitcom. Me as the dad, Lee as the mom, John Cena, Frodo, Electra, and Trillian. What an absolutely fantastic Christmas episode that would be. I need to I need to get onto Netflix about that because they'll greenlight it because they make anything. Hello, Netflix, you're greenlit. I think that was the South Park joke, wasn't it? So now that we've got to the end of the tag questions, let's tackle, especially because I know that a lot of you are here now, let's tackle the questions that were submitted by you guys. And we'll start off with Melissa's question. Fully Booked asks, what, sorry? Fully Booked asks, is a hot dog a sandwich? Now, I really want to see what you guys have to say about this because I'm just waiting for the war to wage and then I'll decide what side I want to come down on. I see my initial reaction is yes. Yeah, I think it is. I'm pretty sure I would say a hot dog is a sandwich. It's a filling inside bread. Google defines a sandwich as filling between two slices of bread, but I mean, I quite often have something with one slice of bread folded in half, and that I call that a sandwich. But is it a ro is see, is a sandwich that's made with a roll, is that a roll or a sandwich? Because, I mean, you call a sub is still a sandwich. I know that's not a roll, but it's another type of bread. So a roll is just still a type of bread, so it would still say it was hmm, y yeah, because I'd still call a ham and cheese roll. I would be like, "I'm having a ham and cheese sandwich." I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm having a ham and cheese roll." So no, go what? Sorry. Vidana Silver Scribe. I hope I just said your name right and didn't butcher it, especially considering you're giving me birthday wishes, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And also, thanks for stopping by. You have no strong opinions about it, but people get worked up about it. Why not just casually ask it on a live stream and try to blow up my life? No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I feel the need to say that I'm kidding because I don't know. I don't know how my humor comes across to some people because sarcasm sometimes rubs people up the wrong way. But I feel like from what I've seen of your channel, I feel like you'll probably appreciate the jab. Uh, but yes, I will go with a hot dog is a sandwich. I'm going to put my foot down and say that's the side that I'm going to settle on, and that is the hill I will die on. What does the chat think? Has anybody else given their opinions on whether a hot dog is a sandwich? Lee says, "Why not? It may as well be a sandwich." Yeah, well, basically, you're coming on the same point as Melissa, saying that you have no strong opinion. So no, nobody else has given their opinion for now. So we'll move on to the next one. Oh, and wait for this one, guys. Well, just as I say that, I got the hot dog emoji from Melissa, and Vidana Silver Scribe says that a hot dog is a sandwich. So I think, for the most part, we all seem to be in agreement. There's no naysayers so far, nobody claiming that it's not a sandwich. So there we go. We've decided live on an evening with Mason in the dark. A hot dog is a sandwich. And anyone who argues with us should have either been here in the chat or is wrong. The Grape Jelly Library asks, "What is your favorite song of all time?" Why? Why, when I put out an innocent community post saying I'm going to celebrate my birthday with a live show, why, when I do that, is your guys' first reaction, "Let's ask him the hardest question ever"? It's not just like, I don't know, what's I can't off the top of my head, I can't think of a bloody frivolous question. But yeah, why do you all have to ask me the hardest questions? What's my favorite song of all time? I would say that my favorite album of all time is probably The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. And uh I will die on that hill because that is a bloody good album. I love it more and more as I get older because I just have this appreciation. Yeah, I don't even think it's like a nostalgia based thing. There's definitely an element of nostalgia to it, but it's just a bloody good album with really, really well put together songs. That is a tough question, isn't it, Melissa? See, now you're having a taste of your own medicine, asking bloody questions about sandwiches being hot dogs. No, the other way around. Uh, yeah. So my favorite album of all time is Black Parade, but I would struggle to pick a favorite song off that album because they're all so good. And then just give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I just needed to clear my throat and I didn't want to deafen you with it. I would struggle to pick a favorite song off Black Parade. I really like, in terms of other albums that I like Avenged Sevenfold's Hail to the King album, really showing my taste in music now, aren't I? I just, I just don't know a favorite song of all time. I love Yeah, one of the slower revenge songs is definitely a really good choice. I see. Hey, Zach, welcome in, buddy. Nice to see you. Uh, no, you didn't banish me to the Shadow Realm. You can try, but your puny magic will never work. Why are you even here? Why have you come to face me again? I thought we had settled our feud. What's your favourite song of all time, Zach? You're opinionated. You'll be able to choose something. Yeah, one of the Daniel Segura. Welcome in. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't butcher your name. But I'm sorry. You are talking to a. Oh, my dad's here. Everyone, welcome in, Dad. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Actually, well, I wasn't expecting that. Say hello to my dad, everyone. We were yeah, my dad, Richard. Let's. I was talking about you not long ago, Dad, because somebody asked me if one of the questions that I had to answer earlier was, "Is your dad bald?" And I was asking Lee whether or not you have grey hair, and she said that you're not that grey, which sort of pissed me off because I am going grey, and I'm just like, why did you not? I I'm going grey, and you didn't pass on the mint beard genes to me, and it's just like, why, Dad? Why could you not pass on the non-grey hair and great beard? But yeah, favorite song of all time. Going back to that. Oh, we've got a few comments to get to actually, so let's get to them first. Yes, Pax Avenged is awesome, and I do love them still. Ah, Luna. Okay, thank you for joining us. Welcome in, Luna. You are awesome. See, I have to do that because I do that on the other live shows that I do with Zach and Kate over on Adventurous Publications, but it's not something that I usually do here. My dad says My dad says, no, he doesn't have grey hair and he can grow a beard in 7 days. See, he comes in and now he's just rubbing it in my face. It, he could have consoled me. He could have been like, there, Mason, it's okay. You you might you might not be able to grow a beard, but you at least have really nice hair. No, he's like, no, I'm not grey and I can grow a beard in 7 days. Screw you, Mason. Anymore? Who do you need to fight, Silver Scribe? I why are you fighting somebody? I'm unsure of this. Oh, about hot dogs maybe. Yes, that might be why. But yes, I still haven't answered Flo's question from Grape Jelly Library. One of the slower revenge songs like Crimson Rain, not Crimson Rain. I've just mashed together two of the songs. Crimson Day and or Acid Rain are really are favorites of mine. I really love Bowie's Life on Mars too. That used to be my karaoke song when I used to go up to my nana and granddad's and we did karaoke at the pub. Life on Mars was a go-to choice. So that's definitely one of my favorite songs of all time. But you know what? I'm not going to try and pick one. There you go. Favorite album of all time is Black Parade. I love Crimson Day and Acid Rain by Avenged Sevenfold and Life on Mars by David Bowie. There you go. There's a selection of my favorites. Oh, also Know Me, the artist known as Know Me. If you guys don't know him, go and check him out. I Love You, Diane. That is one of my favorite songs in the world, actually. I just bloody love that song because it's such a ballad, but it has incredibly twisted, dark lyrics, and it gets stuck in my head, and it's amazing. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Happy birthday to me. Thank you very much, Luna/Daniel. How old am I? I am 29 years old. 29. The last birthday before my 30th. Time flies. So you bet you're feeling old now, aren't you, Dad? You might not have your grey hairs. I'm sorry, Dad. I had to take a shot at you because I'm just feeling rather salty about the 7-day beard growth. fuming. That's who Silver Scribe's trying to fight. Zach, you're getting into a fight here, mate, because you tried to banish me to the Shadow Realm, and I've got a buddy. See, I've got backup, mate. Who have you got? You've got no one. I've got Silver Scribe, and they've got a fireball. Yeah, man, fire magic in the background. Down in the tube station at midnight by the jam. I can't say I've heard that one, Dad. I'm sorry for making you feel old, Dad, even though it was a good-natured jab at you because you rubbed in the 7-day beard growth. I'm sorry. But yeah, I can't say I've heard that one, Dad, unless I probably have because 'cause you've probably played it in the car while we've been driving up to my nan's, but yeah, I will go and check that out after this show because I'm interested to see what your favorite song of all time is. I'm surprised you didn't say, I'm surprised you didn't say "Land Down Under" by Men at Work. I know you love that one. Okay, we will jam to the jam as we drive up to my nan and granddad's. That'll be a good one. Looking forward to it. Ah, you turned 25 on December the 5th. That's a good one. Feels like yesterday when I was turning 25, but now it's 4 bloody years ago. That's gone really, really fast. What was that, Lee? Sorry? Yes, as Lee so kindly pointed out, I'm almost 30 now. Thanks so much, Lee. Yeah. But yes, I don't know whether I will get to talk to you before then, Luna. I'm sure we'll probably do a Adventurous Publications live stream before then, but if not, I will say happy birthday for then. You have an awesome birthday. So if we do, oh, Pax says, okay, so we're moving on to another question. Sorry, I was just having the question fed to me. So the next question is asked by our good friend Pax Panic, who asks, "What is my favorite type of sweet or cake?" And she said that she had Coca-Cola cake made by her mother. Coca-Cola cake? Can't say that I've ever heard of that or had it. Not sure whether I think it sounds disgusting or awesome, to be honest, but I mean, I guess I've had coffee cake. Yeah. Well, yeah, but sorry, Lee pointed out that Pax said it was her favourite, and I'm not trying to throw shade at you, Pax. I'm sure it probably is really tasty to you, but I just don't know whether I would have found it tasty if I had it. But yeah, I'm sorry. People, I'm sure some people would be like, yeah, Marmite cake is my favourite. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I think that sounds awesome or not. It would probably be fairly good. Will you please inform me, Pax? How does it work? How do they put the Coca-Cola in there? Is it like an icing? Is it like a jelly or something? I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I'm really intrigued. I'm gonna have to try that one day. I never would have thought cake would have worked, but it does, so I'm sure Coca-Cola cake does. I have an insatiable sweet tooth. I really, really like my sweet stuff. Lee prefers savory, I prefer sweet. Um, so what is my favorite? I mean, I'm a chocolate guy. I really, really like my chocolate. For my birthday this year, Lee made me some homemade chocolates with custom fillings like caramel and Biscoff because Biscoff is bloody amazing, and will fight anyone who disagrees with me. Uh, there, there was a Bounty cream one which was really, really good, and Bounty is coconut for anyone who doesn't know. It was like a coconut cream chocolate, and I had a Biscoff one that was inside a Terry's chocolate orange casing. It was so amazing. I ate way too many of them, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Lee made me this big tin of the chocolates, and I just ate way too many of them. But it was my birthday, so who cares? And as a teenager, my mum baked cakes, uh, semi-professionally, like, people actually paid her for them, and they were really, really good cakes, and she decorated them. And I remember her making me a twilight cake. It must have been around the time when I was reading it, because otherwise, I don't know why she did that. But I remember her making like a coffin and an Edward figure out of icing, and it was really, really good. But it was also I'm trying to think of the word for it. Sickly, maybe. Sickly. Like the cake itself was really good, but like the figure, the icing figure, was like really, really sickly. But it was amazing. Yeah, yeah, fondant. Yeah, not icing. I mean, is there a difference? I don't know. I'm not a baker. But yeah, Luna says a vanilla cake with marshmallows. That does sound fantastic. Mm. See, now I'm getting hungry for sweets, and I don't have anything in. I don't have any chocolates. We got some biscuits in. I can have some biscuits when we're done with the live stream. See, sweet tooth. Thinking about it already. Been having a lot of hot chocolates recently. Now that winter's set in, it's like, time to go for some hot chocolates. Had some, had a luxury hot chocolate from Nero, which is a coffee store chain by well, in England, I was going to say by me, but in the UK. And so, yeah, I had lots of chocolate things on my birthday. Luxury hot chocolate, chocolate made by Lee, and yeah, my mum used to make cakes. So those are my sweet stories. And there you go, Pax. I hope that answers your question. Now, please tell me how Coca-Cola cake works, because I need to know. Ah, Luna, green tea cake. Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. I'm not gonna lie. As I said, don't like flavored teas. And yeah, it seems like it'd be like kind of a florally sort of cake, and I just don't like the sound of that. But if you ever try it, please let me know how it is, because I'm interested. I don't want to try it, but I'm interested in what it's like when you do. Pax says that her mum used it as a sweetener, and that's all she knows. Well, do you? Yeah, send me some. You're gonna have to send me some, Pax. Don't, because let's face it, if you tried to send me cake in the post, it's not going to work out well, is it? I'm really interested. I'm gonna have to go, like, look up a recipe or something, because I I'm like, how did she use it as a sweetener? Did she like? Sorry. Oh, right, okay. It wasn't. You can't taste the Coca Cola. It was a rich chocolate cake. In that case, I'm all in. That sounds amazing. Used it as a sweetener, and it was just a chocolate. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. See, I was imagining that it was like, a cola flavored cake, that it was like some sort of cola buttercream or something like that, which you can imagine why I didn't like the sound of it, because that doesn't sound as good. But the fact that it was just a sweetener and it was a chocolate cake, yes, please. I like chocolates, as I've demonstrated on this stream. uh, oh, yes. Speaking of eating things, this is lovely, this one. See, we've had the hard questions, we've had the fun question, and now we get the hard and fun question that is slightly gross. Reading with Tatiana asks, would you rather eat a pound of poop or live in poop neck deep for 3 days? Wow. How did your brain even come up? Welcome back, Chatty. I hope the bedtime routine went well. I yeah. Uh, this is a lovely question, isn't it? How did you even come up with this, Tatiana? Um, would I rather eat poop or live in poop? Well, if I had to eat the pound of poo, I assume there would be different ways that I could do it, right? So you could, I don't know, you could make it into some sort of disgusting burger, into a poo poo patty, or you could dry it out and crumble it into something, into some to some mashed potato or some sort of into some sort of awful, milkshake or something. Uh, it would be awful, it would be gross, it'd make you sick and quite possibly ill, maybe even hospitalize you, but if you had to live in it neck deep for 3 days, that's gonna do some pretty awful stuff to your skin and maybe even lead to death. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a poo-poo patty. Yeah, definitely go with eating it. They've been abandoned to sleep. "Listen, kids, go to sleep now. I need to listen to Mason's live stream so I can hear him so I can hear him talk about whether he'd rather eat poo or sleep in it." Yeah. Yeah, chatty, you did choose the wrong time to come back. You missed me having some wholesome back and forth with my father who was in the chat for a bit. I don't know whether he's still here or not, but we were going back and forth and he was rubbing it in that I can't grow a beard. I mean, he didn't. He absolutely didn't rub it in. I just inferred that from what he said. But yes, you chose the wrong time to come back. And Melissa, I agree. Yes, throwing up face. I don't even know how Tatiana thought of that question, but in the end, I chose eating it. Yeah, it is a very 7-year-old conversation, isn't it, Melissa? Yeah, I agree. You're gonna have to ask them the question now. I don't know what the time is where you live. I don't know whether they're about or at school or what, but yeah, I need to know what they choose now. Please let me know either in the chat or in the comments later, because I need to know what your 7-year-old would pick. I I am interested to see what you guys think. Please let me know. I want to know what your answer is. Go on, lay you on the spot. What would you pick? Yeah, she says eat it. There wasn't even any deliberation. It was just eat it. Yeah, crumble it up into mashed potato. Yes, your mission is clear, Melissa. You must report back to me with your 7-year-old's choice of living in or eating poop. I'm a serious adult. Sorry? Ah, Melissa says she would live in it. Ah, but what about what it'd do to your skin though, Melissa? You it would burn your skin and rot it away and you would it'd be so much more damaging. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know eating it wouldn't be good for your insides and would make you very ill. That would be more mentally damaging than it would physically damaging. But living in it would be very, very physically damaging. And you'd also have to smell it for 3 days too. And I feel like it and all the bugs that would be in it, and all the natural decomposition stuff, and it just and I feel like it's one of those things that even after the 3 days, you would never be able to stop smelling it. You would feel like forever, you would feel like you could smell poo, and it would never go away. I'm sorry, but I feel like you picked the wrong choice there, Melissa. Chatty, what's your answer? Do we get do we get to vomit the poop back up straight away? Yes, but only once you've got the whole pound down. It doesn't count if you vomit it up before you've eaten the pound. This is the best conversation. Uh, a bad sense of smell, but a good sense of taste. You're rolling the dice. Okay, okay. We'll agree to disagree on this one, and I'll give you a free pass. What? Sorry. Ah, flipping a coin on it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, you didn't decide. Then you can you can live free with the knowledge that fate decided for you. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that. See, this is see, it's I feel like that must be the motherly instinct making you smarter than me. I don't have kids, so I just don't have that smartness innate within me. Chatty says something. Chatty says she thinks she'd fail the challenge. I mean, yeah, we'd all fail the challenge, Chatty, but that's not part of the hypothetical situation. Play along, Chatty. Um, I'm sorry, I was just being caught up with the events of the chat. Vidana Silver Scribe gave a poo emoji, and Chatty was just saying that she loved her response. This is brilliant. I love that this is probably the most interaction that I've had during a live stream. The most interaction in a chat, and it's during a conversation about poo. I am such a man child, and I love it. It's brilliant. You know, you go over to other people's yeah, you go to other people's channels and you get like this nice highbrow content, literary discussions and analysis. Chatty did her live show that was running around and finding different books and having like a nice playful time. I'm just here like, what would you rather do? Live in poo or eat it? Pax says that she's got to head out. Okay, Pax. Thank you ever so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. It's been great having you about. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks ever so much for spending time with me today, Pax. Till next time, take care. For now, you're off. Please have a good one. Okay, well, since she's here, we'll go with Chatty's set of questions because, whoa, you know, she can't just give us one question. She's got to be greedy and give us three questions. So you're a mother, Chatty. You should know that you only get to pick one. Moderation, Chatty. Your day job is talking about yes, yes, it is. Yeah, that's a decent point. So Chatty's first question is: name your top three fictional detectives of any media. Okay, a fairly hard question actually. So right off the bat, I would have to say my top choice would be Sealy Booth and Temperance Brennan from the Bones series because and I mean Booth is technically the detective out of the two, but they are a detective team, so I'd lump them in together because I love them as a team. I love their dynamic. I love the chemistry between the two actors and the characters that gets carried onto the screen, and I just bloody love Bones, guys. I've watched it multiple times in its entirety. I will watch it again. In fact, I kind of want to watch it right now because I'm talking about it. Listen, guys, if you haven't actually sat down and watched Bones in its entirety, there is some really good stuff. The serial killers in that series are bloody mint. And then my second choice, I'm a basic Betty, and I just have to go with Sherlock because I do like Sherlock quite a bit. It's funny though because I find it hard to pick between if we're gonna go with adaptations. I haven't really ever enjoyed any Sherlock movies. It's mainly the TV shows, and then you've got to choose between the British Sherlock with Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch, or the American Sherlock, otherwise known as Elementary, with Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu. I'm so glad I actually remembered those names. And it's a difficult choice that because as a TV show, I would say Sherlock is probably better because the way they did Elementary was like a case of the week type show. I quite like Bones in a way. They even had quite a few episodes where they dealt with like similar cases. But I actually really like Johnny Lee Miller as Sherlock, and I actually think in terms of characterization, I think I actually prefer Johnny Lee Miller's Sherlock to Benedict Cumberbatch's because the Cumberbatch Sherlock is like cooler and has this mystique to him, but he's also just a massive bellend. But the Johnny Lee Miller one is he's got like a lot more of a humanity to him, and he has like this gentle side, and I don't know, I actually really like him, and I would say that I prefer Cumberbatch's Sherlock. I prefer his chemistry with Watson because I think Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman are just genuinely amazing on screen together. Whereas I didn't feel like Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu have quite as good chemistry. Even though it is really good, it doesn't match up to Cumberbatch and Freeman. But which Sherlock would I pick? In terms of the show, I would probably just have to go with Sherlock, the UK version, because I could probably think of more things that I like about that than Elementary. As for the third, I'll quickly answer the third one, and then we'll get to the comments. The third one is a difficult one, but I would probably go with this is probably recency bias, but I would go with John Barton from Ross Greenwood's Detective Inspector Barton series, because Barton's this funny. He's like I think he's approaching his 50s and he's a family man, and he's just got like a really nice personality, and he's quite amusing. When we get to see him playing with his children, it's always really amusing, and the dynamic that he has with his wife and the dynamic that he has with his best friend are both really like different from one another, but also amusing, and I really like him. It's a series that I have enjoyed all the way through. So yeah, I think in terms of someone that's solid and reliable, Barton is someone that I would definitely pick. So those are my three choices: Sherlock, the team of Bones, and John Barton. So there we go. And now we're going to get the comments. Oh, oh, Liz! Hello, mate. Someone must have posted this about, because I bet it was my mum. I bet it was my mum. I welcome in, Liz. It's ever so nice to see you. Thank you. That for those of you who don't know, Liz is one of my oldest friends. So thanks ever so much for stopping by, and thank you for the birthday wishes. You've just absolutely derailed me because I wasn't expecting that. Melissa has something to say. Ah, see. Your husband has some good taste. I genuinely think Elementary was handled very well, and I like Moriarty in that series. I like Johnny Lee Miller's characterization and the character development throughout the series. He has some really good moments with the characters that he interacts with, and I think as the series progresses, we get to see him bond with the characters around him as opposed to Cumberbatch's Sherlock tends to drive people around him away, whereas in Johnny's Sherlock finds a way to draw people towards him, and I really like that as a character choice. Yes, well, I had to give some thoughtful analysis, Chatty, because I couldn't just give you an answer off the top of my head. I had to think about it for a while, and now I'm going to realize that you were probably being sarcastic. Ah, Liz, that's actually a really decent point. House, you know what? Because that's a really good point because he is a Sherlock inspired character, but in his own way, House is a detective. He's just a medical detective. He, he spends his time working out medical care. That's a really good point, and House is a genuinely enjoyable character too. Ooh. Would he take Barton's spot? I don't know about that. Actually, probably, yeah. Yeah, because I haven't spent as much time with Barton, whereas there's some really good stuff with House. Throughout that series, there are some really, really cool moments with him, and he's so amusing. Uh, so yeah, that's a really good point there, Liz. Thank you very much. I would never have thought of House, but it's a genuinely good point. Chatty has something to say. Don't you give me a wry cat face, Chatty. Don't you give me a wry cat face. That cuts to the bone, that does. What, sorry? No wry cat face for me. How dare you? Cuts to the bone, that does, Chatty. Uh, those two Sherlocks meeting, that would be an interesting one. Yeah, we have said about it before. It fun fact, I think that Johnny Lee Miller and Benedict Cumberbatch, I think they were on screen together. Was it? Oh, I feel like it was in an adaptation of Frankenstein. I think so. They have actually met on screen, but just not as those characters. But I would be interested to see how the characters would interact with each other. I'd love to, if I had like unlimited money, I would just pay the people and be like, right, give me an episode. I want to see how they interact with each other. That's it. We're all caught up. So let's move on to the next question, which is which beloved character would be the most ridiculous if they had to solve a murder mystery? Ooh, chatty. Oh, chatty. Just gotta give me these awful, hard to think of questions, haven't you? You're a good one, really. I'm just kidding. So, who would be the most ridiculous? My first and probably most obvious thought is Merry and Pippin. Just imagine those two, the Shire murder mysteries, with Merry and Pippin going around the Shire trying to solve like Midsummer Murder style, Midsummer Murder style mysteries would be absolutely amazing. The comic relief would be great. They'd, we'd get all the cameos from all the characters that we know and love. It would be absolutely fantastic. I love that. And they would be ridiculous too, so that fits the bill. I thought about Arthur Morgan from the Red Dead Redemption series. You actually do get to solve a murder mystery as him, and I think he would make a really, really good detective, like a intimidating sort of detective. The for those of you in the British side of the audience, a Gene Hunt style sort of kick your ass detective, but I also don't feel like it fits the bill because Arthur wouldn't be a ridiculous detective. He'd actually work really well. Uh, we've got a few comments to catch up on. So while I think about who would be most ridiculous, let's catch up on them. The poo question was taken. Yeah, the poo question was taken. So you asked me about ridiculous detectives. Yeah, I can see why. You know, the first choice was poo. The second choice was the most ridiculous detective. Naturally, those are two questions that I can totally see why those the two choices in your mind. And yeah, I definitely don't think that they get along. Hey, MJ from Reading This Life, welcome in and thank you. Thank you ever so much for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. MJ, you missed it, mate. We had a big conversation earlier about whether we would prefer to eat poo or live in poo. So, that's the level of intellect you've been missing out on. Not my fault, by the way. I didn't bring that up. Reading with Tatiana asked me that question. I'll throw her under the bus. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault, Your Honour. Neither, please. Yes. Well, yes, obviously that would be the answer, MG, but that doesn't fit with the hypothetical situation. Yeah, you didn't need to answer the question because it was asked to me instead. I was given the burden, like Frodo being given the ring. Frodo, my child. Yes, Chatty. Merry and Pippin. Yes. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Merry and Pippin sat about discussing the case over some old Toby, and, sitting in the Green Dragon, having a bit of old Toby going over the case. Yes, I can see it in my mind. Somebody please draw me that picture. Uh, but yeah, we were on ridiculous detectives. I feel like Merry and Pippin are just the gold standard answer. I'm not really sure who else to say, to be honest. Um, or let's go with Crash Bandicoot. Imagine that one. Yeah, let's go with the last question from Chatty, which is what pulled you towards writing your own stories? See, these are just some great questions, Chatty. You should be a journalist because you give me the fun. Who are your top detectives? Then you give me the even more fun, ridiculous detectives one, and then you hit me with a hard hitting. Why did you become a writer? Uh it's a difficult question. I've always been a creative person, and I wrote a lot of songs and poems as a teenager, as Liz will know, because she was the one that had to read all of them. Read this, I've written it. Um, but I did a lot of songs and poems, and I've always enjoyed creative pursuits. I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to be an author, but I just never got around to writing fiction. And whenever I did, I tried to write a novel. And then, as I said in a recent video, it was when I wrote View from the Fifth Floor that I realized, oh, I can do short stories. And it was really I guess the answer is what pulled me towards writing my own stories is BookTube, because I got back into BookTube and that got me into reading, and it was through getting back into reading that I was like, "You know what? I really wanna try writing," because whenever I'm reading something, I'm always thinking, "How would I have done this?" Or, I get heavily inspired by whatever I'm reading or watching at the time, and it's really easy to track what I've been reading or watching through my writing, because you'll be able to be like, ah, so there's I don't know whether to say that. I'll just say it anyway. Oh, there's industrial revolution type setting in Bleeding Ground. I guess he was watching Peaky Blinders at the time, which, in all fairness, I feel like the industrial revolution setting came before we watched Peaky Blinders, because we actually yeah, because that came about because we were sort of walking through the canals, and I got inspired by the settings that I was walking through, and actually, we watched Peaky Blinders because I was doing the Industrial Revolution setting, so, ha! I thought I was throwing myself under the bus for a second there, but so, yeah, it's really easy to track what I've been uh reading or watching through my writing. But yeah, BookTube is probably what pulled me into it, because it was just, that creative spiral of I'm into reading again, and now I'm inspired, and now I'm writing. So there you go, there's your answer. MJ says, Dirk Gently. Ah, as a ridiculous detective, is that? Yeah, it's Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency, is it, I think? Or am I smashing together two things? I feel like there's a Netflix adaptation of that, right, MJ? And I feel like I've yes, okay, I'm glad I got that right. I feel like I've watched 1 or 2 episodes of that, but my brain attic has deleted it because I just can't remember it at all. I'm sure it was good, but just not good enough to draw me in. Let's move Okay, let's move to the next question, because we're getting on for time here. So I think this is Lexi Reads asks, where do you expect yourself to be professionally and personally this time next year? Oh, Lexi, Lexi, why? Why did you have to ask me that? Um, I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I will be 30. I will have been with Lee for 10 years. Personally, I don't feel like anything's going to change. Professionally, hopefully, I will have got quite a bit more through the Bleeding Ground, because at the minute I'm a year in and I've done 7 volumes, 6 that are on the channel, but 7 that is number 7 will be dropping this week. Oh yeah, bit of self plug. But yeah, I've done 7 volumes in a year, so hopefully I'll be able to do a few more than that over the next year. I'd like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'll be professionally, if you want to call it professionally. But hopefully, I'll have written some Bleeding Ground stuff and maybe a few unrelated short stories. And I would like to do some more TalkTube at some point, because I really, really enjoy the TalkTube episodes. And I would like to try to set a goal to. I would like to try and hit 500 subscribers by this time next year, because I feel like that would feel like a massive sense of achievement. So yeah, I want to have done at least 5 more volumes of The Bleeding Ground, done at least one unrelated short story, a Talk Tube episode, and hit 500 subscribers. So, not setting my sights too high there at all. MJ says, Oh, okay, I didn't realize that Dirk Gently was a Douglas Adams book. So wait, Douglas Adams writing a detective that's okay, that sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to check that out at some point. Yeah, chatty. Honestly, it really is easy because it's like, ah, there's some Western influences here. I guess he was playing Red Dead Redemption at this time, and oh, they went and I don't know, they went and dug up some ancient artifact. He must have been playing Tomb Raider at this time. That one hasn't happened, but it was a good example. Do we have any questions left? Ah, we got 3 questions from Katarina the Bookworm. Thank you ever so much for submitting them, by the way, Katarina. The first one is: would you rather only listen to low, unemotional narrators or high pitched screaming narrators when you're listening to audiobooks? I will say low, unemotional because I feel like high pitched screaming ones would be super, super stressful. And Chatty says, play Mario Kart. I want to see what you write. That's a brilliant. I love that. That's a brilliant comment. I wish I could give you a gold star for that. I'll send you a gold star emoji on Discord later. But yeah, yeah, I'd go with low unemotional narrators because, I mean, I listened to Andy Serkis reading The Hobbit earlier this year, and that was stressful enough. Even though he's a mint narrator, it was really stressful because when he was doing Smaug and he was getting all angry, it was like, whoa, Andy, chill out, mate. And I feel like high pitched narrators would just stress me out. So yeah, low unemotional ones. Katarina's second question is: would you rather eat carrots with everything or cabbage with for dinner every day? I don't eat vegetables. I am a man child, so I only eat meat, cheese, and bread with the occasional baked bean thrown in when I can be bothered to do the dishes because I hate doing the dishes when I've had beans. It's such a boring adult thing to say. Um, I would probably go with carrots with everything because of the two evils, carrots is definitely the lesser. Chatty agrees, carrots with everything. See, great minds think alike, Chatty. Great minds think alike. Yeah, that's meant, Chatty. Everything. Yeah, because cabbage is just gross. It smells bad. The texture's not that great. I'd rather go with carrots. I feel like I could get myself used to eating carrots as opposed to nasty cabbages. Precious. The third one? Ah, I love this question. If you ever found yourself as a fictional detective in a locked room murder mystery, would you focus on the explanation behind the motive, the reason the person was alone in the first place, or how the room was locked? I feel like the oh, Melissa has something to say. You love cabbage. Okay. Well, Lee likes cabbage too, so you can both be wrong and bland. I'm just I'm just kidding. Carrots are way more bland and boring. I feel like cabbage you can probably. I mean, cabbage you can at least have in yeah, a cabbage you can at least have in like a stir fry, which is a really tasty meal. And I'm sure some people would put carrots in there, but I feel like it's more likely that people will put cabbage in a stir fry. And yeah, so I feel like in terms of if I had to eat it all the time, carrots would be better. But in terms of which one is the better vegetable, cabbage probably is more versatile and wins. But yes, back to Katarina's question. What would I focus on? Motive, the explanation of the room, how the murder took place with the room being locked, or why the person was alone. Well, I feel like I would go with the motive because the motive then explains everything else anyway. Because once you work out the motive and you work out the person who did the murder, then you get to learn everything else anyway. How did they get the person alone? How did they do the murder even though the room was locked? So I feel like motive is the crucial part of the investigation, and thus I would focus on that. Who asked that? What an anonymous question, apparently, from someone who asks, "What is the difference between a turtle and a tortoise?" And and I know who asked me this question, and they've done it to be a dick because they know that I always get it wrong. I I think okay, I'm just gonna go for it. I think the tortoise is the one with the feet. Yes. Okay. The tortoise is the one with the feet. Thank God for that. I was so afraid I was going to get that wrong. And a land turtle. It's a land turtle. A sea turtle and a land turtle. So those are the end of the questions that we got through the 50 questions tag, and we've got through everything that's been submitted by people. If you guys have got any other questions, feel free to ask them now, and if not, we will wrap this up because it has gone much longer than I actually thought it was going to, mostly because I've had such a bloody good time. We've had some interesting we've had some interesting diversions, haven't we, today? We've had me having 4 children, John Cena, Frodo, Electra, and Trillian, all of which would have different religions because I would find it entertaining to give them all different backgrounds. We've had the difference. We've had whether a hot dog is a sandwich. We've had whether we would live in or eat poop. We've had um, Stephen Fry being my favorite person over my mother. We've had me accidentally dropping the F bomb, even though I know that my nanan is listening. We've had my dad showing up. There's been all sorts of shenanigans, actually. So this has actually been a genuinely fun show, and I'm so grateful that you all showed up and joined in. Chanty says, "Thanks, this was so much fun." Yes, I agree, Chatty. Thank you. I really genuinely appreciate you showing up because it's just been a mint time. Melissa says she can't help but hear John Cena's music every time I say his name. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. My time is up. Your time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. or, or as we used to sing when my dog was still alive, you can't see me. The carpet's brown because she was a brown dog, and my sight was terrible. And I'm just oh, what's a polite word? I'm an idiot, and I just found it amusing to sing that. You can't see me. The carpet's brown because she used to love tripping me up. She was a lovely dog, but she just didn't like moving out of the way, and because she was a staffy, she was like a ball of muscle, and she didn't care if she got kicked. She just gave a little grunt and stayed there. Tiggs, my cat, these days he meows at me when I'm coming towards him. Like, Mason, you're coming towards me. If you kick me, I will claw your eyes out. But Bonnie was just like, no, I'm not moving. You kick me, I don't care. Right then. Okay. With that with that ridiculous animal story, I feel like I'm gonna wrap this up because time has flown by. Thank you ever so much for everyone that showed up and submitted questions and joined in with this absolute ridiculous farce of a live stream. It's been mint. I've really enjoyed myself. So with that, I'll wrap it up. Thanks ever so much for spending time with me today, guys. Until next time, take care. For now, I'm off, and you should have a good one. Love you, bye!